All right, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions, a retro pay-per-view series. We're going to be going over the inaugural SummerSlam from 1988. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank, and let's get into it, man. I really like this SummerSlam. It had a good main event, had a decent opening match, which was always key. This was their inaugural SummerSlam. I mean, the card was packed because back in the late '80s, card was always stacked. They had some tremendous talent on there. Some of the matches on this were average at
Yeah.
best. We'll get into it. But we did have two title matches, one classic title match, which we've talked about many times. And what the hell? Let's just do it one more time. August 29th, 1988, live from Madison Square Garden. Where else would you do it but MSG?
This is the
20,000 fans, man. This place
and,
was packed.
yeah, it was. And this is I mean, if you want to get technical, this was the fourth of the pay-per-views, but not really because Royal Rumble earlier in the year
Yeah,
was a USA Network exclusive. It wasn't on
yeah,
pay-per-view. So if you want to, you could say this is the third pay-per-view.
of 1988.
Yeah,
It was because Royal Rumble went to pay-per-view the next year.
the next
It's
year in
like
80 and
they
89.
didn't think it was going to catch on,
Right.
and which thank God it
So
did
this
because
is
it was awesome.
it's the fourth big event, but it's technically the first. Technically the third pay-per-view out of the four big
Yeah.
pay-per-views.
Anyway, it works. So the inaugural SummerSlam match kicked off with the British Bulldogs versus the Fabulous
Hmm.
Rougeau brothers. And I don't know about you, but I went back a couple of nights ago and I rewatched this
Yeah, I
because I
watched it.
remember from the Dark Side review with Dynamite Kid how there was the animosity between him and Jacques Rougeau at the time that this was going on. And I was actually looking for certain things because they said how very aggressive and the receipts that they were giving back and forth. And it was really hard to catch them, but I found a few of them where you can see
Yeah, I
that
don't.
the hits were legit.
But the Bulldogs had a very aggressive style to begin with, so you don't
Yeah,
know what's what. And the heat, the real heat didn't start until, well, it doesn't get bad until a few months later because
yeah.
it's right before Survivor Series that they have that fight, the real legitimate fight.
And not to mention when I'm looking for it now, because Dynamite and Jacques were hardly in the ring together until later on
Mhm.
towards the end of the match. It was mainly Raymond that was in there with Dynamite, and Bulldog was in there with both.
Yeah,
But this was a tremendous match. I didn't like the fact that it went to a time limit, 20-minute time limit draw.
yeah, I didn't. It is.
I really believe that the Bulldogs should have gotten over on this one, and because they were also on feuding on house shows, they were feuding with Demolition for the tag team titles.
Yeah.
So I really believe that this was kind of taken from them. The Rougeaus, they're the Rougeaus. I mean, I wouldn't have pushed them from day one. So I really believe this should have went to the British
But they
Bulldogs.
at this point I think they had just turned they just turned heel because they were baby faces initially, and then they
Yeah,
ended up
yeah,
with
I
Jimmy
didn't
Hart,
care.
and they didn't have the. I was disappointed we didn't hear the theme song, the All American Boys.
Yeah, that didn't come until later.
Yeah.
The whole Barry Manilow and all that
Yeah.
garbage.
So
At least we got to see Matilda.
yeah.
I love that. I love that Bulldog, man.
Did you know that Matilda when they did a they did some sort of a poll in the 80s for top managers? You know that Matilda beat out Miss Elizabeth in the
Yes.
poll?
Oh my God, yes. What happened? Frankie wasn't in the top five.
Guess not. Jesus Christ.
That poor parrot. Well, it's
Yeah.
Coco Beware, man. I
Coco,
mean,
yeah.
you couldn't buy a victory for that fool.
Yeah. I thought this match went a little too long though.
It did well, yeah. The 20-minute
The
time
20 minute
draw,
it
which was
it's a
ridiculous,
good
and
match because these guys
it
can wrestle,
was
but I just felt it was a little bit too much. And then
it was it dragged out from time to time
right.
during it.
And then for them not to have a winner, I was a little disappointed.
In the opening match too of
Yeah.
all.
But
And like I said, I really think it should have went for the Bulldogs for them to get the advantage, considering they were rivaling the
mm,
tag champs. I mean, this didn't make any sense. But in any event, it ends in a time limit draw. Both teams still save face, but whatever face the Rougeaus had, I have no idea. Our next match was Ken Patera versus Bad News Brown.
yeah.
Now, this is the start of Bad News Brown's WWE career within the last 8 months. Patera's is coming to an end. Um,
Well, this is actually Ken Patera out of jail. So this
yeah,
is his sort of like comeback that just never really caught on because
no, especially as a fan favorite.
right, and he was a much better heel. He
Oh,
was a
definitely.
much better heel.
When he was
So
IC champion, yeah.
I forget how many years he did in jail. 2 years, whatever it was for the McDonald. You know about the McDonald's incident, right?
I remember hearing about it a long time ago, but
It it
go,
was
go ahead, bring it
it
up.
was him and some other wrestler. I don't know who it was. I don't think it was anybody famous. They go late night to a McDonald's because they were hungry, and I guess they were drunk, and the McDonald's was ready to close, so they locked the doors on them. So then they got angry and they threw I think one of them threw a garbage can through the window, and then they called the cops, and then Ken Patera fights the cops, and then he ends up doing a couple of years.
Yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah, it's all coming back to me now.
hmm
But
the
yeah, when
80s, the
he,
80s, man. It's the 80s.
oh yeah, no, Jimmy Uso would have fit right in, man, with all of that. My God,
Oh, Jesus.
that was the party era, man.
Yeah. This was a stinker, though. I thought this match was a
This
stinker. I
was
don't know about you.
garbage.
Yeah.
This was pure. Matter of fact, not even that. That Bad News Brown, when he hit his ghetto
The
blaster,
ghetto
he
blaster.
completely missed.
Yeah.
He completely missed his head.
He did kind of botch it, right?
Yeah, because I rewound it. I was like, all right, I got to make sure I
Yeah.
saw this correctly because he always, when he did it, 9 times out of 10, he always hits it on target.
Yeah.
And because my son was even saying, God, that's a cheesy finisher. And it
I
was.
like the ghetto blaster, though.
The hits to the back of the head.
Yeah, I like the ghetto blaster.
I don't know about you, but I mean, that guy always looked like he was totally, completely out of shape. I mean, with that beard.
Yeah, but he was actually, yeah, but supposedly he was a legitimate badass, though.
Yeah,
He was a
I
real
can say
badass.
it.
I think he was a judo champion, right? Didn't he
Yeah.
judo champion? I think the
And then,
Olympics
and
or
then
Pan Am Games.
on the independent scene, he was also heavyweight champion, which he was promised when he got there that he would be world champion
Yeah, that
because
was,
he never got it. He got one shot at Savage right before Savage turned heel, and that was pretty much it. And then, of course, Ken Patera looked like crap
yeah, he
because
wasn't.
that's not what he looks like when he fought in the late '70s, early '80s when he was champion.
No, and they re-gimmicked him, and he was like, no, he was babyface.
He was on, yeah, and he was like the '80s Kurt Angle,
Yeah.
only if Kurt Angle was fat and out of shape.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, you look at them. I mean, he just looked like a saggy.
Dude,
Nothing, I
the
mean.
guy just got out of jail, man. What do you want from him?
Use the weight room like everybody else.
I mean,
Come on.
I don't know.
Anyway, 6 minute, 33-second match. It went to Bad News Brown, and again he botched his finishing move. Patera still tried to sell it. It didn't work. So in any event, we're moving on. Our next match, and I didn't agree with this because I really thought that Jake Roberts should have been fighting him instead of who Roberts really did fight at this card. It was Ravishing Rick Rude and the Junkyard Dog. Now, the heat that Rude and Roberts had all through 1988, I really believe should have culminated
Yeah.
at SummerSlam, and the two of them should have just
Should have.
fought.
I don't get that.
I don't either because they gave Jake Roberts a match later on. I'll get into.
And Jake was over as hell. Like,
Oh yeah, but at this point, yes.
Yeah. So, and I mean, Junkyard, they never did anything with him. The guy had talent. He
Unfortunately,
had
no.
a lot of charisma, but they just never.
I always
They didn't
liked
use him.
when he came to the ring, the dancing and stuff.
Yeah.
He was the headbutts.
He was popular. He was over. He was over.
Yeah, I've said it. His best match was WrestleMania 3, unfortunately, against Harley Race,
Yeah.
which by that point is a declining Harley Race. It's not the guy that we knew as NWA champion.
hmm
So I mean, and unfortunately, this match only went 6 minutes 18 seconds, and it's funny because Rick Rude drops his tights to reveal old Cheryl Roberts on there, and of course, who's going to come down to the ring? Jake the Snake Roberts.
Yeah, he's not gonna let that go.
It ends in a disqualification where Rude gets the win, and he actually had to plead his case to JYD. Like, I'm sorry,
Right,
man.
I'm sorry, I
didn't wanna
cost you the match. Yeah,
I mean it. He did what he did, and JYD looked like he was going to knock him out, but
he did. He did. They did a good job selling that whole thing, but just watching it, you could see how that's bad booking because Jake was over as hell, and people wanted to see that match on a big stage again.
Besides WrestleMania,
we got it at
we didn't get a winner.
No, we didn't get a winner, and they didn't have. They didn't have the same amount of heat that they had later on.
Yeah.
So
I mean, yeah, this was bad booking.
yeah, that's just
And unfortunately now again, that's 2 matches in a row that are just like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though the crowd's into it, I just
what's another thing too. They messed up, and I don't know if it was because Jesse was refereeing later on that night, or because Jesse was doing his movie thing and he didn't want to do commentary. But without Jesse on commentary,
it was lost.
It was bad, bro.
It was. Like, Billy Graham. I mean, Billy Graham.
He was not good, man. He was not.
He was good at everything except commentary.
Yeah, he was only good at This is the thing about Billy Graham. He was good at putting himself over, but he
Oh yeah.
wasn't good at putting other people over. Like it just didn't.
I mean, I like this commentary during the Warrior match. That's
Yeah,
familiar
but it was
music, brother.
right, but it was quick, so it was okay.
Yeah, but this whole thing, and then when Bobby Heenan did that one match, I'm like, all right, I can, we can go with this the rest of the way.
Cause
But then he didn't stay there.
no, because Gorilla and Jesse, man, they were awesome, man.
Oh man,
They
no,
were.
the only duo that works better than them was Bobby and Gorilla.
Bobby and Gorilla were good too. I mean, Bobby's the man though.
Yes,
But
hands down.
but Jesse's underrated, dude. As far as
It
commentators,
is.
vastly underrated. Vastly
I
underrated.
loved when they did all the pay per views in the late '80s up until WrestleMania 6. I mean, just listening to the two of them banter was amazing.
How about he used to do Saturday Night's Main Event?
Mm-hmm.
So
And then that's when I actually tolerated WCW because when Ventura went there and did a couple of pay per views, I liked listening to it. The only pay per view I didn't like was Royal Rumble '90 is when Shivani and Ventura did it.
well, that's
It's
because
just something about Shivani.
Shivani. They didn't have good chemistry together.
No. Well,
But
Shivani's a platoon. I
didn't
don't like him.
didn't Jesse Ventura get fired for falling asleep when he was in WCW?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, if the match is that boring, I mean, damn, what do you expect him to do?
It's not his fault. It's not his fault.
No, it's the match you're making him call. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think it was because he was a special guest referee is why he wasn't on there. I mean, he's not
I think
double duty.
Yeah, he had just done Predator and he did Running Man. I remember around that time.
Two good movies. Mm-hmm. So now we move on to. I actually like this next match because I was a fan of this team until they destroyed them. The Powers of Pain versus the Bolsheviks with their manager, the Baron. And if nobody's familiar, it was Baron von Raschke, the famous, well, not totally famous, but he was a good WWE superstar from the 70s and 80s, which is actually one guy that, anybody knows Stevie Richards he would do his gimmick with, the whole Baron von Raschke thing. He would do it in ECW. It was good. Yeah. But so the Baron is their manager for not even a cup of coffee.
Shout out Espresso. Shout out Espresso.
Seriously, because come Survivor Series, he's not even in the picture.
And I thought I didn't remember. I didn't even until I rewatched this.
I forgot they had a manager. Yeah. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Because they were there. This was at the time where they had just left NWA because they were running from the Road Warriors in those scaffolding matches.
Do you know the story though? I just found this out. They ended up there because Road Warriors turned down Vince. Vince was negotiating with them, and they turned them down, so they just got Powers of Pain instead. But it was really supposed to be the Road Warriors coming in at that time in '88. It wasn't supposed to be Powers of Pain.
That just means I think Demolition would have been killed a lot earlier than they were.
Maybe, or we would have had a great run.
There's no telling at this point. I mean, at this point, maybe the two of them at the height of their career tear the house down, but because I see 2 years later what happened. I'm a little leery about it.
Yeah, but at least Axe would have been healthy, so maybe.
Yeah, that's true.
We never know.
In any event, 5 minutes, 27 seconds. Powers of Pain get the victory. I really enjoyed this match because I really liked them as fan favorites. I thought they were a great tag team. The minute they put them heel and with Mr. Fuji, they just destroyed them.
Yeah, it wasn't.
They pardon the expression, but they were demolition's bitch at that point. And then there was no salvaging them after that, so they just split them up. Mm-hmm. And then the only one to really have a decent career in the singles was the Warlord over Barbarian. So, I mean, his year-long feud with Bulldog. I mean, what else did they do with the Barbarian? Big Boss Man. He teamed with Hawk. After that, they put him back in a tag team with Haku. I mean, they really didn't do anything.
Yeah, I mean, at least he lasted in the business, though. When he went to WCW, Faces of Fear,
don't forget Sione. He was the head shrinker.
That's right.
For a minute.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
When Samu left, they brought in Sione or Barbarian to be that, and then he went back to WCW to be again with Haku or Ming in the Faces of Fear.
Underrated tag team.
Yeah, they were. Well, then again, they were overshadowed by the Steiners, Harlem Heat, and the Outsiders. So I mean, where are they really gonna make their mark? I mean, unfortunately,
the American Males.
Oh, really? Jeez, what's that other tag team? They
Stars and no,
it's not them.
State Patrol.
Yes, there you go. That's the one. Hey. Every time I did the tag team tournament, what about State Patrol? Why can't they be in it?
Listen, shout out to my boy Tyreek from the group. If you're watching this, State Patrol, man. State Patrol.
Anyway, our next match is for the Intercontinental Championship. Honky Tonk Man versus what was supposed to be Brutus the Barber Beefcake.
Yeah.
But Brutus got some
This is the beginning of the
bad
curse.
mojo.
This is the beginning of the curse of Beefcake, yeah.
Because twice now, and twice in three SummerSlams, he's supposed to be in the IC title match, and I know in this one he was supposed to win it. I'm not so sure. I believe he was supposed to win it in 1990 against Mr. Perfect. I'm not 100%.
I think he was supposed to. It wasn't supposed to
really
be Texas Tornado. I think it was.
No. I think Beefcake was in that match.
And Beefcake, look, man. Listen, the guy gets, people dump on him because he has like 1,000 gimmicks. And
I don't dump on him.
He had Hogan was his boy, so Hogan always made sure he had a job. But at this point, he was over.
Yeah,
that gimmick was over. The Brutus the Barber Beefcake gimmick was over.
And I don't care what anybody says. You can re-gimmick the man 1,000 times. He stayed in the business. Matter of fact,
because of Hogan, though.
Matter of fact, still to this day, believe it or not, he's still wrestling.
I don't know. That's a good thing.
Yeah, on the independent scene, he's a little chunky. But he's got some muscles, and believe it or not, Valentine's still doing it too with him. Again, I don't know how good it is.
No, probably not.
But at 60-something years old, he's still doing it from time to time. He hasn't fully retired. So my hat off to him. So he's supposed to get the title shot. He gets injured thanks to Outlaw Ron Bass. Well, it was also a legitimate injury, so they had to write him off the storyline. So Honky grabs the microphone. Now, if you remember this, go back a little bit. When Honky Tonk Man was interviewed by Mean Gene Okerlund, Mean Gene knew who it was because he was telling him. He was giving him the clues. And if you watch it now and you know who the challenger is, you go, oh, he's describing the Ultimate Warrior. But Honky didn't want to hear it. So Honky gets on the microphone and goes, bring me somebody down here. I don't care who it is. Billy Graham is like, don't say that. There's plenty of guys back there that would love to tear this man apart.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, we hit the music. He hits the ring. 31 seconds later, the Ultimate Warrior is the Intercontinental Champion. We're off to the races.
He was supposed to gorilla press Honky Tonk, but Honky Tonk Man didn't trust him and didn't let him gorilla press him. Yeah, so that's the backstage story, is that he was supposed to, and Honky said no because supposedly Warrior was hurting people. So he's like, no, and he was complaining about the shoulder block, whatever.
Well, that's all right because Warrior got to do it plenty of times after that because they had about a 3-month feud after that with Honky trying to get the belt.
Yeah, but that was the house
Warrior
show.
Would do.
That was the house show circuit. They never really
and one Saturday Night Main Event.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, they did get that, and he did gorilla press slam him. At that point, Warrior was like, screw you, I'm doing it. But the Elvis attire didn't even get to come off. He splashes him, gets the victory.
And this catapult.
I gotta ask this: the man held the belt for 64 weeks, and this is how you take it off of him? I mean, I know. Granted, you look at the two of them, and the 31 seconds is obviously. The Warrior can beat him, even less than that. But I'm wondering, did Honky have any heat? Like, I mean,
I don't think
really
he did.
Embarrassed him though.
No, I don't think he had any heat.
64 weeks as champion, and then just like that in 30 seconds, he took.
I mean, dude, it worked because that catapulted Warrior into superstardom, so it worked.
Yeah, and then Honky just went into oblivion.
Yeah,
because after that, it was really nothing for him. I mean, put him
in
Rhythm and Blues, and come on,
they're underrated, man. It's an underrated team.
Yeah, their claim to fame was the Honkettes and DDP.
Yeah.
Thank God the Bushwhackers came out at WrestleMania 6. Anyway, moving on to the next match, we got The Rock. No, not The Rock. Mm. The Rock, Don Morocco, without his manager, Billy Graham, versus Dino Bravo.
Yeah, this is when he's a babyface, and
finally.
This was a stinker, though.
It was.
I thought it was. They couldn't move those guys.
No, the two big dudes like this. I didn't like Morocco as a fan favorite. I thought he was way better as a heel. All those years with Fuji.
Morocco was jacked, man. He was big.
He was, and he, if anybody's underrated, it's Morocco.
Early Morocco. At this point.
Yeah, this is 2.0. This is we tie-dyed him. We put him as a fan favorite, and he's crap.
Yeah.
But Intercontinental Champion Morocco, feuding with Jimmy Snuka. That's the man right there.
Right, but this was
And
another.
and you can make an argument for uncrowned champions that he could have been part of that because realistically he had the look, he had the charisma, he had it, but then he just overnight just
Yeah.
seems somehow lost it. And so this match was only 5 minutes 27 seconds, and it's a finishing move that to this day would not even work. That side suplex that Bravo did, that would not go over
Hmm.
now. And especially on Morocco beating him with just that.
Yeah, this was a
This
stinker.
was an awful match, and Bravo gets the victory. Again, Morocco's on his way out at this point. He was just about done. Bravo is starting to make his ascend. Unfortunately, he's got little Frenchie Martin in there at the ringside, which I was so glad when they got rid of him.
Yeah.
I just didn't like the 2 year rival that he had later on with Duggan. It was just continuous with the two of them, and
Yeah.
they never pushed Bravo, and it was a shame because he had it. He really did. I also didn't like the
Bravo?
fact that he had it.
The problem with Bravo was he could barely speak English, man. That's what was his problem.
That's where you have Jimmy Hart.
Yeah.
He had the
Yeah.
manager. Because the look that Bravo had, remember, Bravo was also in WWE long before this run. He was a tag team champion. A lot of people don't
Wasn't
know
he
that.
like some other champion too? That some belt that disappeared. I forgot what it was called.
In WWE?
Yeah. It
Well,
was like
I mean, at the time, he was the
was like a
WWF
brown.
tag champion.
It's like a brown. It was like a brown strap. I could be wrong.
Wasn't the North American title, was it?
Might have been.
Because that disappeared with Patterson and DiBiase, the magical tournament in Rio. Because if anybody doesn't, a quick side note, so we don't get sidetracked, Ted DiBiase in 1979 was the WWE North American champion, which is why, if people don't know, they resurrected that title a few years ago in NXT because they had it once before.
Mm-hmm.
When he was feuding with Pat Patterson, who all of a sudden became the Intercontinental Champion overnight, it was the North American title being dissolved and the Intercontinental title being born. It was kind of being renamed, only they used the storyline where DiBiase was pretty much screwed out of it, and this magical tournament appeared because it was at a house show that Patterson had fought DiBiase for the North American title. 1 month later, they're having a rematch for the Intercontinental Championship. So that belt was dissolved at that point. As far as something else that they had, and I mean, there's no telling. They had a few quirky belts back in the early '80s that they really never used again. So it is possible that he had something.
I think he did.
So, and we all, he was a Canadian World Heavyweight Champion. Again, another guy that was promised, to be top dog, and he wasn't. I didn't like the fact that they dyed his hair because I think he looked good with the dark hair, like he had it. So, I mean, it was kind of bad booking and bad creative. And again, like you said, he wasn't good on the microphone. But again, they put him with a manager that could act, that didn't know how to shut up on a microphone. So it was what it was. In any event, we go on to the next match, and I really like this match because anytime these two teams get into the ring together, it's gold. Unfortunately, the outcome in this was a stinker, the finisher. For the WWE Tag Team Champions, you had Demolition with Mr. Fuji at ringside and the little pipsqueak Jimmy Hart versus the newly babyfaced Hart Foundation.
Yep.
And the Harts were trying to do something that hadn't really been done as a team. Now, Mr. Fuji was multiple-time tag champion, only with different partners. Being a two-time tag team champion was rare back then. So this is what they were trying to accomplish. And unfortunately, we didn't even get the Demolition finisher on this. This was a megaphone from Jimmy Hart.
Jimmy Hart, yeah.
And that's the only thing I didn't like about this match was that we didn't. I don't care if you get a clean victory, but just the way Demolition came about it, like as if to say we don't think we could beat this team. But I think hands down they could have straight up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was 10 minutes 49 seconds. The match itself was good up until we got to the end where Demolition cheated to get the victory to retain the tag titles.
No, it was a good match though.
It was. From there now we go to a very overweight Big Boss Man versus Coco Beware. And this is when Big Boss Man first came in. And I don't know about you, but that shirt, them buttons were popping off, boy.
Yeah, he was huge.
when he first started, yes, thank
Yeah.
God he trimmed down a little bit.
Eventually he does. Sometime after the Twin Towers run.
Yeah, but
But
this right here was
yeah,
just,
he
oh
was
my
huge. He was young too.
God.
He was really young.
Yes, this was his pay-per-view debut,
Hmm.
and against a guy that I don't think ever won a pay-per-view match, Coco Beware. As
I don't know.
flamboyant
I'd
as
have to
the
look it
guy
up. I don't
was,
know.
and he's semi-talented, I don't understand why they just kept putting him in match after match when he never won anything.
I don't know.
And I mean, the only thing I liked about him was, Frankie the parrot.
Yeah.
He had the bird at ringside, which was cool. He the
Yeah, but
fans loved him. I'll give him that. He
yeah.
he got over great with the fans, and he was very good in the ring. I really think he had the Kurt Hawkins losing streak. I don't ever think he got a victory on pay per view.
I don't know. Maybe not.
5 minutes 57 seconds, and guess who gets the victory? Pudgy. The
Yep.
old big boss man did his finisher, with that big ass belly of his, and he gets the victory. So one of many to come for Bossman. Our next match, and we discussed this earlier, why he wasn't in the match with Ravishing Rude, was Jake the Snake Roberts versus the Mighty Hercules. This match didn't make any sense other than Jake kind of feuding with the Heenan family. But again, this
Yeah.
was like a throw together match that we shouldn't have seen. If anything, it should have been JYD versus Hercules, but give us Ravishing Rude and Jake the Snake
Right.
Roberts on a pay per view, and let's end this feud properly.
Right.
And this match was even a stinker.
Yeah,
I
this
didn't
wasn't
enjoy
good.
this one. And Jake was in great shape at this
He
point.
was, yeah. Well,
You
for
know,
Jake Roberts standards, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, this is as good as you're going to get him.
Yeah. Yeah. He was
Unfortunately.
he was at the top of his game, though, man. He was at the top of his game.
And if it wasn't, and we've said this many times, if it wasn't for his demons and the stuff
Yeah.
that he was battling with, this man could easily
Yeah.
have become a champion.
Yeah.
I agree with it. But now everything that comes out of his mouth to me is just pure crap. So, I mean, I can't believe what he says. 10 minutes, 6 seconds. Jake Roberts gets the victory over Hercules, which is now, this is 2 major pay-per-view losses for Hercules. So he's kind of dipping downhill, but this was his last pay-per-view as a heel, which to me he worked better as than a fan favorite. And I really liked him when his second heel turn when he was a Power and Glory, the most underrated tag team to me out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
I swear, I really think we're coming to a point where we're going to be doing an episode on underrated tag teams. We'll be here all night. Now on to our main event.
Oh, before this, there's a little note. Remember Brother Love? I don't know if this is Brother Love's debut, but it's not his debut.
when he interviewed Hacksaw.
Yeah, but that was supposed to be Ric Flair. That was supposed to be Ric Flair. Ric Flair was supposed to debut SummerSlam 1988, and that's why they kept hyping up. We're gonna have a big special guest. We're gonna have leading into this. And Flair, at the last minute, he decides to re-sign with Cross Promotions.
You've actually stumped me. I did not know.
It's supposed to be Ric Flair. Yep. And then at the last minute, he pulls out, and they're like, "Well, we've been hyping up this Brother Love thing.
Yeah, so we get Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Let's get Hacksaw Jim Duggan. He's been gone for a little while anyway. Yeah, same difference, right?
Yeah, they're both like.
Yeah. So
imagine Flair in there at that point with Savage as champion and Hogan in his prime. Oh my God, the matches we would have had.
That could have been real interesting. Yep.
Ooh, if they would have done triple threat matches back then, imagine what WrestleMania 5 would have really looked like. Oh, man.
I'll never know.
But yeah, you stumped me on that one. That I did not know. And again, we don't know everything in the wrestling world. Nobody does. So I'm glad you had told me about that one. That's interesting to know. Yeah, but like you said, yeah, we'll hype it up, but we give you Duggan. In any event, special guest referee Jesse the Body Ventura gets the Macho Man, WWE champion, Macho Man Randy Savage, and the pukester, Hulk Hogan, his little tailgater there, against the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Andre the Giant. And you're laughing, but it's true. He rode his coattail the entire year to be relevant when the man should have been on his own.
Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks.
Mega Bucks.
Yeah.
And Jesse getting all the money, and I love when they show the stuff leading up to it, and he's like he's not afraid of anybody. Here comes Andre.
Andre comes out, yeah. And
he wouldn't even look him in the eye at first.
Scared. Yeah. That was cool.
Dude, I don't care what anybody says. Back then, I was scared of Andre.
And yeah, no, of course.
That man was huge.
Then they were talking about Mega Powers talking about they had a secret weapon. That's what they were saying. They had a secret weapon leading into this, and then
Oh, they
later on,
did.
we found out what the secret weapon was.
But do you also know before and then before? Do you know that that was the start of their breakup?
Yeah, you could see that's when the lust in Hogan's eyes began.
When he held her up,
Yep.
and you see Savage's face, and I'm like,
He's like, "What's going
oh,
on here?"
oh, because he did the same thing at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
But he really had it in his face, and I'm like, oh damn, they
Hogan was already trying to take his girl. He's trying to be slick.
I don't know why. He had lust in his eye. Oh my lord. But anyway, the match itself was I liked this. I really enjoyed this match. Mm-hmm. The two of them were good, despite the fact of, again, Hogan's riding his coattail. We could have easily, honestly, and I don't know if you want to agree with me with this, had Randy Savage versus Ted DiBiase, the rematch for the WWE Championship, or even Andre the Giant versus Randy Savage, or honestly go with Savage and DiBiase. You could even add Hogan and Andre fight one more time. I mean, the tag team match we got was good, but would I have liked to see the WWE Championship defended? Of course.
Yeah,
but I'm not disappointed of what we got.
No, because remember, this ultimately leads to WrestleMania 5. So
yeah, this is literally the start of it.
There was a plan in place, So,
and for anybody that doesn't know, the secret weapon, when they were both about to be counted out, Elizabeth gets up on the apron, and everybody's like, the count got stopped. Ventura's telling her to get down. She rips off her skirt, and everybody's jaw dropped. DiBiase, Heenan's, hell, I even saw Virgil's mouth drop. Mm-hmm. Of course, Andre's did, and he's just still like, get her out of here. I like the two of them there when they did the handshake, like, it worked, brother. Yeah. Next thing you know, we get the elbow drop, we get the leg drop. 1, 2, 3, 14 minutes, 43 seconds. The Mega Powers get the win. Of course, Mr. Egomaniac had to get the pin, which that I did not agree with. I did like the fact that they came out in respect of Savage's team.
Yeah, they did.
Because I expected, when I saw this for the first time, I expected them to come out individually.
Yeah.
But it would have been nice for Savage to be the champion.
At least, they gave him that much respect.
Yeah, the entrance with the theme, but Hogan gets the pin.
Yeah, well.
And then Hogan gets the girl.
Then he has to pose, remember?
He has to pose like Hogan, really.
Right, yeah.
I mean, you're the champion, but follow his lead.
Well, Hogan's.
Hogan's Hogan.
So,
I really think that Randy Savage should have been on his own that year, defending that belt and proving I deserve this, that I'm not a placeholder for this guy.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, I think it was about money. I think that Hogan was drawing so much money that they didn't want to take a chance.
Yeah.
So, it's just business. Yeah, that's Hogan.
So that was the first SummerSlam of many to come. Actually, we don't get a WWE Championship match until SummerSlam 90.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have another main event tag match in our next one when we go over SummerSlam 89.
Yep. Which
had one of the best Intercontinental Championship rematches. And that was actually the only title defense of that card. And when we get into 89, I'll explain my frustration on why I still believe the tag championship should have been defended. But we'll get into that when we cover SummerSlam 1989 in our next episode.
All right. So you guys let us know what you think. Like, comment, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.
Take care, guys.